Guys, welcome back to the Last Gen podcast, helping you push your careers, bring you different business ideas, really just change your future. Today, guys, here with the man himself. You want to explain who you are, brother?
So my name is Philip. I'm a university student, amongst other things, studying at Oxford Brookes. I study construction project management, and I also run or own a landscaping firm or company. The acronym is only firm for most people say. And we also take on a small company for now. That's it in a nutshell. Interests, do martial arts, do judo. Been doing that for about 20 years on and off. Well, 20 years, 18 years consecutively, been off about 2 years. Get back into that. And yeah, that's in a little nutshell.
So, landscaping. For those who may not know, watching, what is landscaping?
So landscaping, there's two parts. You have soft landscaping, and that's like your gardening, your hedge trimming, anything that essentially is to do with the soil, grass. Then you have your hard landscaping. So that's your fencing, that's your patio installation, that's your decking jobs, and all those massive, nice garden revamps that people usually go on about or do very well on TikTok. Mm-hmm. That's the hard landscaping aspect of the umbrella term, landscaping.
I don't think I've ever seen any live landscaping.
In terms of on social media and whatnot?
No, in person, like no one I know
that does it, or
has done it, like for their own property.
Landscaping?
Yeah.
It's normally, people normally do it to so you see people that have, let's say, vast amounts of garden space.
Like roots, like need to pull up.
Like artificial grass would be classed as soft, hard landscaping. The tiling that people put in, slabs, that's hard landscaping. People that want to have like a water fountain put in, hard landscape. Like, Love Island, that garden they have, for example, that entire place was this artificial grass and this decking where the sunbeds are. That area there has all been landscaped, essentially. So
with maybe someone watching, but they want to get into this, maybe if they've done some handiwork with their family members or whatever, how would you recommend getting into it or even starting your own company?
So, for a bit of context, it wasn't always a landscaping company.
Okay.
I started off as a gardener.
Ooh.
Trusty old gardener, just cutting grass. And the reason why I started that, or how I fell into it kind of links into how me and you kind of met. So, I think I was 17, 18.
How old are you now?
22.
Okay.
23 very soon. Thank God for that. I was in network marketing. So the last company I was in was called Planet Marketing, and their product, for those of you who are a bit familiar with how network marketing works, was travel. A good company, good set of people. And prior to that, I was in I wasn't in, but I wasn't actually ACN. Some people that do know about ACN, they sell like networks, and so I was in that for a while. Wasn't doing too well because it just didn't work for myself. But one thing, my mentor, I think that's what they call them nowadays, told me about, or introduced me to, was a platform called Nextdoor. And the reason for his introduction, or him telling me about the platform, was to potentially find other people who were looking to join the business, or who I could potentially, sell our services to. But, the platform didn't provide much benefit to me, and I shortly left the company afterwards, but I didn't forget about the app. So then when I as you do as entrepreneurs, you try to find other legal ways to make income, looking for the new opportunities that people aren't doing, or something that may become your thing. I came across Planet Marketing. I met a fella called John DaCosta. I'm still very good friends with him, who obviously you shortly met like a year or two afterwards. And we got into business together, and it was pretty good. It was good. The travel side of things made a lot of sense, but, with network marketing, one main way to make income is obviously grow your team. And I didn't have a community that I could potentially bring things towards. So a lot of my networking would have been in my cold market, so people that I'm unfamiliar with, people on Facebook, people on Instagram. And it was all right, but it just didn't connect for me. And then it came to a point where I was considering leaving the business, because I had to pay like the monthly subscription.
Subscriptions.
And about a year before we met, I was kind of stuck. I was like, don't have money to pay for it. I don't feel like my investments are reaping a reward. What do I do? And I met him at his property, at his house up in Greenwich, and we sat down for a little bit. And he said, what can you do now? It doesn't require you to, spend any money to make money. And I sat a little bit, had a little thought. I think previously I'd been to my uncle's house because he's moving to a new property and said, "Oh, come over, help us cut the garden." I said, "Fine, I do that home all the time, nothing special." And then he gave me as payment some Calvin Klein boxes. So when I had that question posed to me, I said, yeah, gardening, that's simple. Do you know what I mean? Gardening is pretty straightforward. I have some basic tools I could potentially use, and not everyone, but a lot of people have a garden, and a lot of people pay for it to get cut because they can't do it themselves for convenience. So I said, yeah, gardening. He said, yeah, why not? I can get some leaflets and hand them around the area, charge 80, 70, whatever, and just, that could, summertime as well, it's when we met as well, so it was prime season. So I went home, went on Nextdoor as opposed to ordering leaflets because I thought that was a lot longer and it's an expense I didn't want to pay for. But I thought about Nextdoor because what Nextdoor does is an app that connects you with your local community. So I put something up on Nextdoor, got some before and after pictures from Google, put some information on, mentioned that I'm a local, because like I did mention earlier on, I did judo, so I put that in, how I've represented the borough for the past, how many years that I was doing that for. Yeah, I did that, posted on Nextdoor, and then went to bed because I think, whatever, man, time for me to, because I think I was also doing delivery as well. So I think I was in college.
Was this like moped, cycling, or electric?
No, I was doing the hard graft. I was I was on my pushback. Damn. Boy, I mean, to be fair, I was earning relatively a good amount, to be honest. And the money that I was making from that, I was putting into stocks, and then it was before COVID happened. So everything just, in that respect, that's a whole separate conversation. But that took off, and that led me into other things. But yeah. So I was doing delivery and whatnot, but then that gets tiring, do you know what I mean? College, Friday, run home, change, on the bike, cycling from East London to Central London to parts of South. It was a whole, but I loved it because I like to cycle, do you know what I mean? But, do you know what I mean? It's not really... It's a lot. I do, and then people then you're scared to potentially go into an area that you're familiar with because you don't want to deliver to your friend. Do you know what I mean? Or you don't want your friend to see you on a bike because it's a bit of a...
I would imagine that.
You get it? So, but I was shameless to an extent, but I wasn't that shameless. You know what I mean? I was a bit like, all my friends are doing what they're doing and I'm doing that. It's a bit of a... Do you know what I mean? But of course. I had things and there was a reason why I was doing it. So I knew what I was doing. I knew what the man was going into and I was seeing do you know what I mean? So I said, you know what? I'm doing what I'm doing now. And that similar started, that kind of blended in to when I started doing the garden stuff. So back to the post. I made that post. The following day I woke up, responses. So I was like, woo, I'm getting beautiful feedback. People were messaging me. I was messaging people. That one post I did in that summer, I had on average 3 jobs every day for the entire month. So much so I couldn't do the work. Wow. So I was having to get a cab from my house, get a cab to one location, finish the job there, next location. So I was doing that day in, day out, and I loved it. It was amazing.
And these jobs that you received from Nextdoor, how hard were they? What kind of jobs were they?
They were all basic stuff, gardening, because the before and after picture
so just like
was gardening.
Nah,
lawn mowing, head trimming stuff. So that was all good. Thank God my mum had some of the stuff already, so I didn't have to pay for anything. All I was paying for was initially the transportation there.
The travel fee, yeah.
So I was doing that, and that it was growing, it was going well. Nextdoor was the only thing I was using. I was not on Google Business, I was not on anything. So Nextdoor was literally my only source of income in terms of the gardening side, and it was very good. I couldn't tell you how much I made, but I definitely hit 4 figures in the first week.
Amazing.
4 figures? Yeah, 4 figures, and that high end, very off of just basic jobs. My issue, I think issue, but not a regret, but looking back at what I used to charge then and what I charge now, it's massive. I was charging 70, 80, 70, which is actually not too bad for some of the jobs. But, you know, as a young person, I think I was about 17, 18, looked about 15, my hair was out, and I look a lot younger when my hair's out. Especially then, people see you. It's a good thing you're doing, but then they try and, push things on. At the time, I was also very nervous to like charge over £100. So there came a point in time where I was getting work in, but I didn't feel comfortable saying, yeah, it's going to cost you £120. Like, they'll say, no, it's too expensive. So for a while, I was stuck in this bubble where I was only charging 80, 85, 70, 85. But it worked, and it put me in a better position, and it kind of gave me a vision, because as I mentioned earlier on, I studied construction project management, and the reason why I studied that course is because I have a vision to own my own construction company and do big things in that space. But at the time, I didn't realize that what I was doing then was going to eventually lead me to where I am now.
This charge for entrepreneurship, do you know where it started or when it started? Like, were you one of those people in school selling sweets and all of that?
Funny enough, I wasn't. Okay. I don't think I was ever we had a few people that was doing that. I started my little entrepreneurial path started in my year 7. Okay. So I was working a job, quote unquote. I was doing paper round. And the reason why I was doing that is because I always wanted to be like independent. I didn't want to have to ask mum for money, do you know what I mean? Never had pocket money, but I wanted to be my own man. I've always wanted to be like my own person, never really having to be confined by somebody else's rules and regulations, because you can't do that, or I can't because you're under my house, or pay for it yourself type of thing, or wait until you can pay for it. And I've always been a very like practical person, a hands-on person. You can't keep me too long in one place not doing anything. I get very like, you know what I mean, uneasy. So started doing that, and in terms of the drive to be like an entrepreneur, I'm not sure where it came from. I think a lot of it sparked when I went to Nigeria. So for those of you who don't know, I spent about 3 years in Nigeria. I didn't get sent back, but I had a very interesting upbringing, school experience, for a better word. My upbringing was amazing. I was just a black sheep. But so I eventually went back. But before I went back, I think based on my overall, my vision, I believe that God gave me, it was already like for me to do my own thing. So I've always wanted to have like a foundation, and that obviously requires funds. I've always been into, or somewhat like drawn to, construction and building and property development and whatnot. That naturally is not something you really do working for someone, if you call it that. Do you know what I mean? Something people go out to do, and I've always liked driving past and seeing people working in a building. That's always like spoken to me. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think I'm also Nigerian, and I'm an Igbo man. And Igbo people are known to be very entrepreneurial and the most. So yeah, 100%. Okay. So it's probably my blood to an extent.
I think for those watching, listening, that want to get into this, maybe they say, okay, gardening is easy. A lot of people have gardens. I live in an area where there's a lot of gardens. Would you say that this kind of path is like that you can do it by yourself, or would you need a group of friends? Would it be better with friends, or how would you go about it if you were telling someone that was a bit younger?
There's obviously the saying, you can go fast by yourself, but is it further together or something along them lines?
Probably along those lines.
Try to be philosophical, but I flopped. But yeah, you can go fast by yourself, but obviously further with other people. If it's gardening that someone wants to go into, I wouldn't advise they go into that solely. I mean, you have to understand why you're going into it. Do you know what I mean? It's not a very sexy job. Do you know what I mean? You're not a trader. You're not a reseller. You're not a property developer. You're a gardener. Do you know what I mean? And that term used to bother me as well at the beginning, because I used to post on my Snapchat as well. Do you know what I mean? And people used to not make comments directly, but I would hear it from other people. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so that was something that I had to like overlook and just ignore, because no one knew what I was making and the other jobs that I was getting from there. Because like I said, I was just cutting gardens at the very beginning, so I didn't do any hard landscaping stuff until one client had asked me to do fences, if I do fences. But prior to that, he'd called me, got my number just to cut his grass. Did that. He wanted some area cleared. I couldn't do it. Didn't have the tools to do it. Didn't have the car to do it. But I had a friend of mine called Nathan, and he lived in the area, so I called him. He came down the same day, helped me clear it out. We split some money. At the end of the day, I think that took 2 days to do, actually, because it was quite a bit of work. The client then said, can you guys do fences? Obviously, it was my business. So Nathan just looked at me a little bit. I looked at him. I was like, yeah, we can. We have never touched fences in our entire lives at all.
I feel like that's the entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just
there.
taking it on board. I said, cool, no worries. He said, fine, yeah, let me know how much you will charge. We said, yeah, we'll get it back to you. We went to around the corner at the end of the day. I think it was like around 10 in the evening. Went on YouTube, set up how to make a fence, how to put a fence. Spent about an hour or so talking. Went online, went home, did research on like B&Q and suppliers, how to like, the cost of that. Gave him a quote. He took it. Something that now would have taken us maybe a day and a half, took about a week because we were having problems, had to hire a road breaker, and because he came from, his dad is like a painter, so he had more experience as to what you would may need to do the work, innit? And then once that job came through, we were offered or asked to do artificial grass, but I just said no because I just had it in my brain that's too confusing. If I make a mistake, it's gonna potentially flood the grass, flood the house because of, you know, leveling things and other things. Wow. So I turned that down. But
that's easy work.
Yeah, after doing that particular job, I was like, I know where I'm going now. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that opened the door to me as to how much I can make, and the fact that it was leading me some way, somehow into owning my own construction company, which is kind of what I can kind of do now. So back to your question, I think I'm diverting a bit too much. You said if somebody was looking to get into it,
would they do it? Would you recommend doing it by yourself or having a trusted friend, trusted pair of people?
It's always better to do with two people or more. But if we're gonna be doing just gardening, cost wise, not ideal. If you drive, it's better because if you're driving, if you got wheels, we've got secure mode of transportation, and obviously using a car, you can get two people on, two lawnmowers or whatever you're going to be using, and have two different locations, and you can work together. But if you're going to grow in the business, which is what a lot of gardeners do, they offer more services. Some people just do gardening, but a lot of the other companies, they offer the landscaping side of things, so they call them landscape gardening, so you do both. I would have recommended, you know, having people that either can do your work, or you find people that can do it and then hire them, and then you work with them, and, you know, as you with a business, you work with people, you grow, and yeah.
Perfect. So in regards to the cost that you're talking about, let's say I've got my best friend with me. I said, look, gardening is not the most attractive thing to do, but there's money to be made. You know, a lot of people have gardens. Summer's here, or even winter's here. You can do where you clip the snow for people.
Snow shoveling.
Yeah. So how much capital or money would I need with my best friend to start this gardening path, would you say?
If we're looking at the very, you know, smaller side of things, and if it's just gardening you're gonna need, then you're gonna have to find a lawnmower to obviously use, and that can cost anywhere from £150 to £400. Do you know what I mean? My lawnmower now cost £400. I didn't get £400 because I went on Gumtree, and, you know, but to give a budget or a price to start, you could start as little as £200, and that will just be to get you a lawnmower and a few hand tools.
Yeah.
But if you really want to start up with a decent amount, £200, £300, £400, £500 will get you, you know, get your multi-tool. That costs maybe £150, £200, a lawnmower, a few hand tools, but you can get them all obviously second hand. So £500 is not crazy, because if you do the work beforehand in terms of trying to find potential clients, going online, going on Facebook, if you don't have any advertising, you know, you're not going to get killed if you use a before and after picture. I did, do you know what I mean? So it's not a bad thing, but yeah, £300 is a very good amount, and you can make that back very quickly depending on how you set up yourself and how you put things forward.
Oh, there you guys go. A couple £300 and you're there. Without any ruining confidentiality, have you ever gone to a client's house who's maybe a celebrity or anything like that? Out of curiosity.
No, I haven't. Not yet anyway. Not yet. I've tried to work my way into that in a way. Like, I have Steve-O, the madman on Snap, but then he bloody lives, God knows where he lives, you know what I mean? And I've tried to, people may know Flums, I've tried to work with him in a way, because he's obviously a property developer, and I have a house building team, so we can carry out any refurb work and there you may have it. But so far, no. But I've done work for people who are very high value, so very rich people.
Networking.
But not people that we would know, if that makes sense. Not in our community, but yeah.
So cool. Obviously, there's a large number of skills that you need to be in. Obviously, sales, obviously active handwork and stuff like that. What 2 skills, if you had to just pin 2 skills down for someone that's want to get into this kind of field, you would say, if any 2 skills only, these would be the 2?
I don't know.
Good question, isn't it?
Good question. Gotta think. I'll say confidence.
Okay.
Has to be one, but that's not really a skill. That's more of a trait.
I mean, we can.
Being communication is definitely one. That's a skill that you can't do without.
Call it that.
So communication being one.
Would you tie that under sales as well?
No,
you wouldn't,
because you don't have to. Not everybody needs to be sold in the business. Some people, they want service. You can communicate. Yeah, what do you want to get done? Sound confident in that communication, and give them a price. Yeah, fine, no problems. If you're just gardening, obviously, as you grow the business and you're charging clients £4,000, £10,000, £15,000, then you need a bit of sales, but a lot of that, and confidence, but a lot of that comes down to your technical know-how. So what you know and how you can communicate what you need, because when you start, any type of work, whether it's £50 work or £1,000 work or £10,000 work, a lot of people, if not everybody, they're always going to find somebody else. Sometimes you win the job not because of your price, but because maybe you go in person and they like how you are, and that's obviously confidence and how you obviously communicate and how you present yourself. So communication, confidence, 2 skills, communication being one. I think branding is a skill in a way. You say,
like marketing kind of.
No, self-brand, because marketing one, obviously that's something else. I don't think you need to. I mean, I'm not a brand expert, but I'm on Google Business. That's free to do, and that helps people come to you anyway.
It's like a verified thing on Google, isn't it?
Yeah, that's something else, I believe. But just having yourself on Google Business is fine. That's what I did now. The year before, but when I started out, I wasn't on that. I was only on one platform. Yeah, communications, I think that's the only skill you really need. I think if you can communicate clearly, if you're doing gardening, you don't need any real practical skill. When you start doing, and yes, the willingness to learn, but that's not really a skill set. I think the question, better word, would be what traits or characteristics do you need to be successful? So communication, confidence, and the willingness to learn. Because if you don't have any, because I've never worked as a labourer, so I didn't have any prior experience. Anything I can do now is because I've learned YouTube, or I've seen someone do it, or I've done it with somebody else who was more qualified than me, as you go. So
one thing that I was overhearing my conversation with my friend, I was buying some shoes to sell on. He was on the phone to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend said, like, kind of Philip's girlfriend's behind the camera, by the way, guys. So his girlfriend was like, I just feel like every day is on repeat. I go to work, come home, I eat food, I do that again and again and again. I call that the drift. It's like after like school, because obviously with school is very structured and routine. You know what time you're starting maths, what time your break is, what time your lunch is, what time your revision is. That kind of the drift of waking up maybe in your 18, 19, 20s. You're not in school anymore. You may be in uni, but uni's very unstructured depending on where you go, and you're just there. Have you had that?
Yeah, I've had that even when I've been very busy in a way.
Okay.
Because I still go to university. I'm currently in my placement year, so I'm working in a year out, my internship. And I have the conversation sometimes with my girl about, because she's studying pharmacy, so... should I be saying that? But yeah, she's studying pharmacy and whatnot, and our visions are very similar, but they take different, parts in a way. So, and my sister, see the same thing. Sometimes I'm always like, I'm not calm. Do you know what I mean? I think I thrive when I'm very busy, but when there is not that busyness, or there's like a calm down, or there's like, you're not getting as much jobs, and then you find yourself working a job and it's the same routine. Because obviously today, before I went to work, I was on site today, so I didn't have to be in at 9. But I had a property going on. There's some works going on around the corner from me. I had a viewing to go. I was running around. I loved all of that. That's probably set my whole mood. That back and forth was good to me. But for the times when I haven't had much work and I'm going into work every single day, I'm going to bed late, for various reasons, whether it be the business, whether I'm wasting time on TikTok or just life happens, do you know what I mean? You can't always go to bed at 9 o'clock in the evening, do you know what I mean? You have your 1 a.m. naps and whatnot. My internship, my degree is 4 years with a year out in the industry.
Okay.
So I'm working full time, I'm getting paid as well, but that's 9 to 5 in. That's like your year into the reality. For many people, they go into that and they're like, yeah, this is amazing, I can climb the ladder and whatnot, but because of the person I am, I need something that's like fast paced to an extent, or change, or I see progression, do you know what I mean? And obviously for many people that do work 9 to 5s, your peers are usually going to be 20, 30 years older than you, and for someone like me that doesn't want to do this or just do this or do that forever, just wake up in the morning, work 9 to 5, weekend you look forward to that same mundane thing, it can be very depressing, do you know what I mean? Because as an entrepreneur, as you probably do know yourself, it's like walking blind into a maze, do you know what I mean? You don't know where you're gonna go, do you know what I mean? And there's no stability in the early days. It's very hard to grow it successfully. I think what's the statistic? 95% of businesses
In 5 years.
in 2 years, I think.
Oh,
I think 2 years they go bust. I think it's 2. It could be 5. I think it's 2 years.
I've heard 5, but maybe it's
Yeah, so it's very difficult if you want to go all out into business and you don't have a backup plan. I'm all for having education. I'm all for having a 9 to 5, but that drift happens when I feel like you have to pick and choose what you do, because for some work it's very demanding, and in order for you to stay in that job, you need to shop every single day. You have to, have a certain output that they require of you. And if you're running a business on the side, the Bible says you can't serve 2 masters at once. So at some point in time, you're gonna have to pick and choose, and that uncertainty leads people to forget business, focus on work that they're not happy with, their soul isn't happy with, it's unfulfilling to them, and then you went to the drift. Do you know what I mean? It's not ideal. Whenever I face that, I kind of go through it. I find myself before trying to always I feel like when you start entering that type of season, if you try hard to fight against it, I feel like you can lead yourself into depression, because I've been depressed, being not just in business, but when I feel like my life isn't going the way I want it to be, do you know what I mean? And I think that comes with a lot of things, but as long as you, day in, day out, you tell yourself, you know where you're going and you're putting in the work, because I think often people find themselves comparing themselves to other people who may look successful or who may be successful or who may not be, but the image that they give out, and try to compare themselves to them, but don't put in the work that they should be doing. I feel like when day in, day out, you say to yourself, I've put in 100%, you can never feel, what's the word?
Unfulfilled.
Unfulfilled, or you're dragging behind, because whenever I felt depressed or, things are not going well for myself, it's because when I've looked back and been honest with myself, I've not given myself or given it 100%. Andrew Tate said it, what do you call it? If you fail, you haven't given it your best.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Well, if you fail, you haven't given your best, because if you're giving your best, you can't fail. Do you know what I mean?
So would you say that for those, your answer for those that are going through the drift or have continuous drift moments is to find what you want and build steps towards it? To
a point, your friend said he just feels like 9 to 5, his days are boring, basically. He's not happy with what he's doing. I take it as he may only have that job he's doing, I assume. Is he doing anything else? Did you know?
It's his girl.
She was complaining.
Yeah, she's like, my days just feel...
See, I don't know.
Maybe it's different with women.
Yeah, finding your purpose. Everybody says it. And before, I used to hate that. Finding your purpose, what does that mean? What does that look like? But I feel like when I received this vision of mine, quote unquote, or this revelation of the things I want to do, it was when I took a break from social media. And it happened in Nigeria, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah, because there was no phones in our school, apart from those we smuggled in. But you know what I mean? There was no social media. We were cut off from the world in a way. And even before then, when I was to try to focus in school and just study all the time, I was away from social media. I think and when you pray, I believe in prayer. Some people don't do that. I believe we all come from somewhere, and where we come from has put us here for a reason.
Okay.
And that reason is your purpose. But if you're not connected to your creator, you're never gonna find your purpose or know what it is you want to do. You're gonna continuously do things for a short period of time, lose interest, find something else that attracts you, lose interest, jump from one thing to the other, and before you know it, you're 25, you're 30, your life isn't, where it should be, and then you're going to look at people who were successful, feel bad for yourself. I think people need to calm down a little bit, relax, and if you don't know what it is you're supposed to do, continue doing something. Do you know what I mean? Stay productive. Motion. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What's the saying?
I think it's a brand now. I think it's
slow motion is better than no motion.
Yeah, I think it's a brand.
Whoever he is, big up him. Yeah, because that was a good catchphrase. But yeah, if she's feeling unfulfilled or she's in a drift, then she's obviously not where she's supposed to be, and she needs to strip things back and look within. And I think people kind of overlook what they are naturally interested in. Some people just like to go on social media, bro, and that's it. People call it lazy, but you can find a way to that thing that you spend all your time in doing, be a producer as well as a consumer. Some people, like my girl, loves makeup. Do you know what I mean? And that's something she wants to do later on as a pharmacist. Integrate, beautician work, I believe, cosmetics, and all of that into a pharmacy that, God willing, she will own several in the foreseeable future. But in summary, if you're in a drift, find your purpose, and the only way I believe you can find your purpose is to search within, and that within is God, I believe. I think everybody has God in them to an extent, and if you're an unbeliever, that's fine, but within yourself, there's something else higher than you. So whatever that is, you need to tune into that and stay active. Do you know what I mean? Don't be lazy.
I feel that's a good way to put it. I feel like prayer is very powerful. At what point did you realize, like, this is something's happening here with this business idea, this path? What job happened, or what quote did you give out? Like, what happened? Was like, I think this is for me.
I would say the fencing job.
Okay, yeah.
But that was like 2-3 years ago.
Oh wow.
And then obviously in between you lose hope sometimes. I think I lost hope. Do you know what I mean? I stopped doing it for a bit because I went back to university that year, and then I tried to maintain it, but then I entered winter, and because my business at the time was only prepared but set up to take on work that would happen when the weather's good, took a standstill. But then with the money that I'd had, I went to other things as well, which still kept me going forward. But then the year or that summer, so like the spring, is it spring? Start of the year?
Well, in England,
like February, March.
Still.
Okay, so spring period. I'm not sure if I went to market, like push out for marketing again. I don't think there's been one specific point. It's funny enough, today I had a realization. So after I was walking, doing my run around, I was just like, because I've been speaking to her a lot and I've been pouring out some of my worries. It's because this year I've taken on a lot of overheads because of marketing. So the year before that, I have spent money, but nothing major on marketing, like £80 there, £90 there that they've done. I swear. They've done fuck all, basically. You know what I mean? Been a waste, but it's done whatever. All my business has come through me being on Google and me getting a phone call, recurring client, obviously. But this year, I said to myself, where I want to be, considering, I'm going to be leaving university in a year's time, I don't want to be, a slave to a job. I don't want my job to then be me forever, because you have to take risks. Do you know what I mean? So I put a lot of money into marketing. So my overheads are a lot more than they were previous years. And the worry is obviously
the results.
Yeah, am I going to make enough to cover the cost? Because once I finish this job, apart from my savings, I'm in university. So that income that I'm getting is no longer going to be there. I'm going to have to rely solely on what I'm doing. If I do pick up a part-time job and any little things I do on the side. In terms of when I found out, today I realized, I think because I've been praying for all those years, I want to own a construction company. I was walking today, I was like, you know what? I need to stop complaining because I've prayed to be where I am now. But I think we as people, we forget what we pray for when we get them. And I think what the aha moment clicked for me was last year when I was going, was it last year? Yeah, when I was going to a client that I had like a year-long relationship with. So every summer I visit them. Annually. And she had asked me...
Is this like to check up on her? Or
no, gardening work, very basic stuff. Not nonsense, but like very, bread and butter work. Do you know what I mean? I think it was 170 or 120, wherever it was, to clear our garden and whatnot. But before I'd left, I was very like, I went through like a weird breakup. So, but that was good because that pushed me, and I made my first 5 figures in business that month of the breakup. But I was very much in prayer as well. So things were just falling into place with me. Like I was getting more jobs, everything was working out very well. I left my house one day and there was a painter next 2 doors down to me doing some work, and she doesn't like it, but I'm a very conversational person. So on my way, I asked him like, what do you do? How booked are you? I think I saw him 2 days in a row. So secondly, I spoke to him. Like, yeah, he does painting. I think when he saw me, he was like, who's this type of thing? But he spoke to me, cool guy, asked how much he charged. He said, yeah. I said, you know what? Let me take your number. It's good to just have you.
Networking, of course.
Literally 30 minutes, I was on my customer's property, and she asked me if I could do or know how to repair the side of her building, her property. It was like an old Victorian Tudor house, so the woodwork was all like rotten and whatnot. Yeah. Needed to be redone. I said, yeah, I can do that. I didn't know what to do. I said to myself, let me call this guy. He's a painter, but doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I think he mentioned he does home improvement as well. So literally called him the following day. He was like, yeah, I'll come with you. Picked me up, went over there. He, being in his 30s and whatnot, very good with people, spoke to her, and the job, we started doing the job. I did more work, started doing her painting, started doing some dog proofing, had to bring some of my boys on, paid them a little bit of money to help me do the work. And then from that side of the house, we ended up painting all of her house. Oh, wow. And then from the painting, she wanted us to do some internal work. So like a knockdown, refurb, a little small refurb. And when I was talking to them, obviously, and hearing the figures, I was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like this was like my foot in. I was doing the gardening thing, people laughed, I doubted myself in a way, but it's open doors, you know what I mean? It's giving me the foot in. And when I realized how much I can make, not even from doing the work myself, but from knowing people that do the work, I was like, this makes sense now.
Making more sense.
Yeah.
Your parents, were you in your house? Is it you, your mum and your dad, or your mum?
Yeah, me, my mum and my dad.
Okay.
My 2 siblings. My dad went away for a little bit to Nigeria, so he hasn't always been in the country when I was growing up in my early days, but he's always been present and he's always been active. So in terms of their support, is that what you're asking? Yeah. So initially, they were all for it. My mum used to complain because I was using her machine. She's like, get on my own machine, don't break my own, rare. But it's been like a 80-20 thing. Okay. So 80% support, 20% it's been a bit of like
doubt.
Yeah, and not doubt because they don't see the vision, but I was thinking about this today. When you need to grow as a business, you need to spend a lot more. And obviously my mum, they look at finances a bit differently to me. Do you know what I mean? I'm more so, bro, money comes and goes in a way. I'm going to make it work. I have to make it work. I got no choice. If not, I'm toast and I can't fry. Do you know what I mean? Sink or swim, I'm going to swim. You know what I mean? So, what was I going to say? So when I've been trying to like push for things and maybe they hear, my mum one day as well had a mate of mine come over to help me for some work. And
in your house?
No, not my, but he came here from my house.
So you could go to the client, yeah.
And I think she heard how much I was charging someone. She's like, I wouldn't pay no one to do that. And she was like, why are you charging so much? Type of thing, like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, everything is fine. And then when she's like, she'll hear me on the phone sometimes, either quote someone something or hear a price I'm getting for maybe marketing. She'll be like, are you sure you should be spending that much? This is a lot of money. You should be saving. Don't do what you can't do. Do you know what I mean? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Can you do fences? Can you do artificial grass? And all those like objections, like the answers for them at the time were like, no, but I'm going to make it work. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of pushback, if I was a weak person, I think it would have like stopped me or slowed me down from taking on bigger work. But because I'm very stubborn, she likes to go on to me about that as well. I was like, you know what? I can. And if I can't, I'm going to find someone to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Would you say that's more of her worry?
Yeah, worry, yeah. And I think that although it comes from a good place, in business, I feel like you can't worry, bro. I feel like if you're an entrepreneur, is that how you say it?
Yeah, entrepreneur.
You can't worry. I sound educated. I sound very uneducated. I promise I go to university. I'm very smart. Okay. But yeah, you can't worry. I think worry kills a lot of things. Yeah. Worry hinders you. Doubt hinders you and delays you. I feel like with business, you just have to go all out. And if people have concerns and whatnot, take them on board. Don't be, hard of hearing, but you know what you're going to do. Only you can see your vision. Do you know what I mean? No one else can. So whatever they say is all good and fine. Even if it's support, I feel like the support is good. It's always good, but I feel like you shouldn't run on support. So I've always like when my sister, my older sister, I love her so much. She always has to big me up and like, you're doing well for yourself. You're doing well for yourself. Like, don't be too hard on yourself and what. Like, look how far you've come. I'm like, yeah, it's good, but
not what I want to be.
It's not what I want to be. And I feel like obviously find that balance between knowing that you've done well and, you know, well done me, but then not getting too
complacent.
Yeah, to an extent. I feel like when people praise you a little bit, ego comes into play and it forgets you need to stay humble at all times and that drive. So the support is good, but I just try to like push it to one side.
I feel like I've had that a lot. You know, people say, "Oh, you're doing so well for your age," but like with reselling, because there's the competition. Like we talk with the competition, you obviously have to buy from another seller to sell to your client. It's like not necessarily pocket watching, but you can see who's really doing better. So when someone from an outsider's view says to me, "Oh, you're doing really well," but I know my boy and he's hitting sales. Grateful to the person complimenting you, but it's kind of like, oh, but I can do better.
Yeah, I think everyone says comparison is a thief of joy.
That is that as well.
But I feel like I don't know, man. Me personally, I think you need it, man. I think you need to be competitive. Us as men in business is not.
It's not easy.
Business is not. It's not a playground. You know what I mean? Everyone's out there to get the most customers, get the most sales, and even if we're hitting 10,000 or 5,000 a month, there's someone hitting 20, 30, and obviously it's not good to look at it like that. But you need to realize that in order to be the best, there's levels. Do you know what I mean?
So you need to do.
Yeah, I feel like when people big me up at times. Sometimes I need it when I'm feeling a bit shit, like fuck man, this month has been dead for me, or this week is dry, or I have £500 direct debit coming out. I don't want to use my personal money. I want to use money from the business. Where's it gonna come from? Do you know what I mean? I've had days where I've been flat, like all in all, no reserve I can pull out of apart from like investments or someone on the touch, but no money at all. I got my bills coming out, had insurance to pay for. I have people that I need to pay for work they've done for me. Money's tied up, money's not there, money's gone here, money's gone to expenses, whatnot. What am I going to do? Or when I'm banking solely on my business to get me through the week, no business. I've been upset. I've been thinking like, what's going to happen? I'm going to have to birth my mum. I can't do that. No way. I'm going to have to ask someone. But then wake up. I've had days where I've been flat out, prayed, cried. The next day, I've got a massive job. And that kind of, no one knows tomorrow, so why worry type of thing. I try to tell people around me all the time, no one knows tomorrow, so worrying, what does it do for you? You know what I mean? Take every day as it comes and just keep going. Being tunnel vision is very good, I believe. I think horses on the road, they have them eye things, innit? And I believe, I could be wrong, could be right, I think I'm right. The reason why they cover the horse's eyes is because they want the horse to be distracted as to what's.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like in business and as an individual that wants to go far, you can't look at what other people are doing. You can't hear what people are doing. You can't even, in my opinion, pay too much attention to the support you're getting, because if you rely on that support, when the support goes, then your motivation, do you know what I mean?
Dies with it.
You have to focus on your vision, and you're gonna get there one way or another, even when you see there to be no way. Because going back to the initial conversation at the very beginning, I started off doing gardening. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm working on projects 50k, 100k, and they're completely different to gardening. So from gardening to now taking on refurb work, taking on loft extensions, or speaking to people about potentially converting their garden or building a conservatory. From someone that was doing gardening, I wasn't getting support. I was being laughed at. Where are you going with this? Do you know what I mean? And if I listen to this, to the comments, I'll have stopped. I'll have tapped out. I'll be like, yeah, allow this, man. Let me do whatever it's to do. Let me jump on that. And I wouldn't. Not that I've been crazy places. I've not done massive stuff yet, but I wouldn't be in the position
you are now. I
wouldn't be on track to where I want to be. Do you know what I mean? I would have tapped out. And same thing with support. I think that support, although very good, it can throw you off. I think anything that isn't you comes into your way. That's my belief. I feel like support, negative things, if you're not careful with how you are as a person, you can be easily pushed. You can be pushed too forward. you could be held back. So just believe in yourself, man. If you don't have that, you don't have anything.
I could say one thing to a parent whose child says to them, "Mom, Dad, I want to start a business," but the parent's a bit shaky, a bit doubtful. What would you say to that parent?
I feel like if you have reservations for your child starting a business, you're right. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people that have businesses always tell people that don't have businesses not to do business because of what it takes and the risks. But if you believe in your child, then believe in them. Do you know what I mean? Don't hold them back. Obviously, guide them. And if a lot of parents, in my opinion, no offense, parents, but a lot of them have never been in business, but they seem to have all the words for the business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you don't come from a business background, then you can't really advise someone that's about to enter that route. You're gonna have your doubts. You're gonna have, it's too risky. Support them where they can. Make sure they don't get into any, massive debts. Avoid contracts with anything. But guide them. It's your child. Their success is your success. Do you know what I mean? So,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
Okay, Philip, thank you very much. Before we go today, anyone that wants to book you for any of your work or your services, where can they find you?
On Google, man. Just type in Philgud Gardens and we will come up. The good is GUD.
Okay.
I think you can put it somewhere.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description or something.
Philgud Gardens.
Okay, now before you go, I did actually get you a present.
All right. Well,
Nothing
lucky
too
me.
major. I wonder if the camera can see this. I was thinking, like, what's the best thing to get someone that's into landscaping?
Plants, eh?
Yeah, kind of. A bit of ASMR for them.
ASMR. Yeah, you're funny.
Drop it. Okay. So,
Technical difficulties, eh?
yeah, kind of. Yes. So there's 3 of them,
Hearts.
all in different
This is amazing. I like
different
this.
poses.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Show the camera. So this is just.
Yeah, it's a little totem of his what is it? Love, support, support you need. Do you know what I mean? Memorabilia to keep you going.
Yeah, man. Just thank you for coming on the
Yeah.
episode.
Thank you for having me.
That's no problem. Wow. They're good to. Yeah, they look good together. Like one's relaxing.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Is it glass?
Ceramic, I believe.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, this is amazing. I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
it, bro, so much. Thank you very much.
You like them, yeah?
I love them. I know I want to keep these. I already have a home for them, so
You don't have to water them, so that's all right. Yeah. Well, guys, just want to say thank you for tuning into today's episode. I had Philip here, Philgud Gardens. What area are you based in?
So for our gardening work, Northeast, East London.
Okay.
For the bigger like landscaping, home improvements all across London and wider parts, depending on the size.
Okay. Well, good luck with uni and
Likewise.
graduating, of course.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, guys, till next time.